It may not be here. It's represented by 2 dashes. 2 dashes mean no attempt. If dashes are black or yellow, no attempt. This mark must be there for a grade or grading. Blue and yellow marks show the student tried or had issues. 2 dashes mean no attempt. They didn't start the test. If 2 small dashes are black or yellow, it means no attempt. Their words are irrelevant, no attempt. This mark shows a grade or needs grading. Blue and yellow marks show an attempt or issue. 2 dashes mean no attempt. They didn't start. This is key in grading. Sometimes a student like Riyam disappears. They vanish by hiding a row. Click hide row for Riyam and she's gone. Either the grading requires this mark to be present or this mark must be there. The blue mark and the yellow mark indicate that the student was trying and if there was a problem or issues occurred. But when there are 2 dashes like that, it means the student has no attempt. They didn't enter, open the test, or start the test. So this is an important point in the grading center. Sometimes you might find that a student Riyam was present in the grading center and vanished. You might notice that the student vanished. Use hiding a row. If we click on hide row, the student is no longer present in the grading center. You might have accidentally hidden the student's row. To reveal the row, go to management and select show row. Here it is, show row. Sometimes you might find that a student like Riyam was present in the grading center and vanished. You might notice that the student vanished. How did she disappear? If we click on hide row for student Riyam, you see the student is no longer present in the grading center. It could be that you might have clicked on hide row and hid the row with the student's name. To reveal the student's row, go to management and select show row. Select show row. Then scroll down and you find student Riyam listed as hidden. Select her and click show rows, then click submit. So it could be that you clicked on hide row and hid the row with the student's name. In this case, to show that name again or to reveal that row for the student again, you go to management and select show row. Then you scroll down and you will find that student Riyam is listed here, but her status is hidden. Everything else is displayed except for her. In this case, you need to select her and click show rows, then click submit so that the grading center shows us the student's row again. First, we go back to show row and ensure the student is not in a hidden state. That's the first thing. Also, as you can see here, then you scroll down and you will find that student Riyam is listed here, but her status is hidden. Everything else is displayed except for her. In this case, we need to select her and then click on something called show rows. Here it is, show rows. And then we click on the word submit. This way, the grading center will show us the student's row again. This is in case something like that happens. First, we go back to show row and make sure that the student is not in a hidden state. That's the first thing. Also, as you can see here, organizing the columns, we have columns for last name, first name, and the first unit test. If we move to the right, you will see the last name and first name, and then the username, which is the student ID. In order for the grading center to show us the student's row again, this is in case something like that happens. First, we go back to show row and make sure that the student is not in a hidden state. That's the first thing. Now, as you can see, here we have columns for last name, first name, and the first unit test. If we move to the right, you will see the last name and first name, and then the username, which is the student ID. We have the columns organized, last name, first name, unit test. To the right, see last name, first name, username, student ID. Notice these first 2 columns are fixed. Only other columns with white background move, those shift. This is the mark I mentioned. I have the username, student ID. You will notice as you move that these first 2 columns are fixed. They shift. This mark means no attempt on the test or assignment. This is what I wanted to show. To fix the username column like first and last name, what should I do? Go to management, then organize columns. It shows first and last name are frozen. To fix username, what should I do? When you see it, the student has not attempted the test, has not attempted the assignment, and has not opened the test or the assignment. This is the knowledge that I wanted to show you. Okay, if I wanted this column to be called, for example, the username, the number, all of this. I want to make it fixed like the first name and last name. What should I do? I go to management and then to organize columns. I click on organize columns. And you will notice that it says here that the first name and last name are in a frozen state, meaning they do not move. Now, if I want to make the username also fixed, I need to click on it with the mouse, drag it up like this, and set it to frozen. So you can see with me here, I click and drag it up, and now it is also frozen. All right, so if I click the submit button now, I need to click on it with this tool using the mouse. Click the mouse on this shape and drag it up to freeze it. So you can see with me here, I click like this and move it up, and now it has also been frozen. All right, so if I click the submit button now, you will notice, ladies and gentlemen, that this column here, which is the name and also the student ID, is fixed in front of me. I can see the student ID clearly. This is also important for us. So no matter how much I scroll down, you will find that these three columns remain fixed and do not move. And the student ID is useful if there are similar names. If there are similar names, go to the circle with the arrow. Click to sort in alphabetical order. Notice names like Ibtihal, Abrar, and Aryam. In the grading center, check if there are two students with the same name, like Khalud, e.g. Here's Khalud Harbi and another Khalud Rashidi. Sometimes Khalud Harbi appears twice. Distinguish them by student ID. In virtual classrooms, to avoid similar names, students should enter here. Regarding the grading center, I want to see if there are two students with the same name, like Khalud, for example. Here's Khalud, and here's another Khalud, but this one is Harbi, and this one is Rashidi. Sometimes you find Khalud Harbi, and below it Khalud Harbi, so there is a similarity in names. But how will you distinguish them? You will distinguish them by the student ID. Now, in virtual classrooms. To avoid the issue of similar names, I recommend that students enter something called to address similar names. Tell students to use unique IDs. Click their name for a go to settings, access personal info, edit personal info, see title, first, middle, last names. Tell students about the first name. On their personal page, they will have the same topic, the same profile. Here, their name will be visible. Just click on the name and the list you see will appear. They should go to something called settings. From the settings, they start to access something called personal information. They click on personal information. Then they should start clicking on edit personal information. You will notice, ladies and gentlemen, that here is the title, and here is the first name, and here is the middle name. The first name is here, and the middle name is here. And here is the last name. Now, you should advise the students that in the first name, for example, he should write the first three names here in the first name field, and in the last name field, he should write the family name. So he will have 4 names in total. When each student does this and enters their 4 names in the virtual classroom during the lecture, their full names will appear in front of you without any issues, confusion. This is regarding changing the name from within the student's personal page in Blackboard. Okay. If we like overview of the report, what will you do? Download the report. I will download the report. See, it showed the report. Notice it shows the student's name and ID. Student ID again. Report time frame, Novi 1 to Deck 7. It shows Tuesday is important. Scroll down to see activity on 7th Rabi al-Akhir at 4:41. Student accessed activity 3 questions. This is an exam. She entered the practical and Unit 10 exams on the same day. It shows what the student did. On the 7th and 15th, the student entered the final exam. From November 1st to December 7, right? And it starts showing me here that only Tuesday is important to me. If you scroll down, you will see that this activity was on the 7th of Rabi al-Akhir at 4:41 when this student accessed the questions for activity 3. This is actually a test, and she entered here, and on the same day she accessed the practical exam. Then on the same day at a certain time she entered the Unit 10 exam, and so on. It shows you exactly what the student did throughout that day. For example, this was on the 7th, and here on the 15th, the student accessed the final exam all at once. The number of times joined is once. Here, for example, I accessed the content folder 7 times. 7 times in this folder, and it was 4:45. This is called a report Of course, if the student has no activity, it will show here as 0, and it says there is no activity for the student. There is no activity for the student, but this is what reflects the activity. This is a report that reflects the activity. You come from here, you come here, and press Ctrl-P on the keyboard, which is the brief for print, and then you go ahead and print it. You can save the file on your desktop, for example, and name it report or any label you want. So now you have the report saved on your desktop. Here it is. The report is now available, and you can open it with Adobe Acrobat or Chrome. It's just fine. This is the report for the student. This is the report for the student. So is everything clear for you? Or is there any issue? If you have any questions or anything, just let me know. All right, God willing. Okay, great.